Good afternoon. So first of all, thank you all for coming out. Thank you to all the organizers here at Wayne State University for having me. But really, to get down to it, I have to go back in time a little bit, almost 2 years ago. And the story begins in late January 2010 at the University of California Irvine, where a lot of us were students who engaged in this protest. I'll get into all these explanations, so if it sounds kind of cloudy right now, it'll make sense by the end. But anyways, I received the campus email along with a bunch of other students from the School of Social Sciences at the University of California Irvine saying that Michael Oren, the Israeli ambassador to the United States, is going to be coming to campus on February 8, 2010 in order to give a speech on the historical legacy between the United States and Israel. Now, this is a few days after the one-year anniversary of Operation Cast Lead. Operation Cast Lead is where the Israeli government and the Israeli military unleashed a bombardment upon the Gaza Strip, leading to the death of over 1,400 civilians, including nearly 700 women and children. This event is sponsored by the university, along with different campus organizations, Anteaters for Israel. Our mascot, UCI, is Anteaters. I know it's kind of corny, but it is what it is. Along with different pro-Zionist groups from off campus. And so for us, really, the fact that the university was sponsoring this event and rolling out the red carpet for Michael Oren was really a tacit approval of Israeli policies by the university themselves. There was absolutely no opposition from within the university or any mentioning of the 1,400 civilians that had been killed or the countless atrocities committed by the Israeli government. And so us as students, we decided, you know what, we have to get together because we're concerned about this figure coming to our campus, and we need to show our opposition to Michael Oren and to the Israeli government, especially in regards to the policies it had regarding the Palestinian people and specifically in Gaza. And for us, it was a bit personal. I myself am not Palestinian, but two of the members of the Irvine 11 actually had family members killed in Operation Cast Lead. A few of their cousins were killed by the Israeli military. Even a girl on our campus, one of our friends, her uncle had woken up, living in Gaza, had woken up for the dawn prayers. And there was no electricity, so he lit a candle in order, to light his way. And he goes to the bathroom in order to make ablution, which is, you just wash your hands, your face, your hair, different body parts in order to get prepared for prayer. And an Israeli sniper caught the light, and he took aim with his sniper and he shot him. And the man actually died in the hands of his wife. And this was somebody's uncle from our campus. So it was personal also for a lot of students on campus. I myself had the opportunity actually to visit the Gaza Strip a few months after Operation Cast Lead with George Galloway, member of parliament from Britain, who began a Viva Palestina convoy, an aid convoy that would challenge the siege on Gaza while also delivering aid to the Palestinian people. So I had the opportunity to go firsthand and see what happened in Gaza. And it's really a surreal experience to see the situation there. You have just house after house, after house, after factory, after building, after farm, after mosque, after hospital, after school, just completely leveled and destroyed. And the rubble is still there. It's almost as if you're on the scene of an apocalypse movie, and some great natural disaster has just wreaked havoc upon the landscape and just left everything completely ruined. And it's surreal until you see the person stick their head out of the rubble, until you see the kids playing in the rubble, until you realize that there's actually families still living in the rubble because there's nowhere to go and there's no means to rebuild, there's no means to really do anything. And it becomes almost this reality, and you're like, wow, this is we were only there for 24 hours. This is my reality for 24 hours, but this is somebody's reality every single day of the year. And it sticks with you. We got to hear from different people while we were in Gaza. One, for example, was a man who had been given the option. He was in Israeli prisons at the time, and the Israeli government gave him the option. He's originally from the West Bank, and they told him, forget about going to the West Bank. You're never going home. You're never seeing your family again. But you have one of two options: either stay with us here in Israeli prisons, or go to the Gaza Strip. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to the Gaza Strip. Another group that really stuck with me was three young girls by the name of. They were part of the Samuni family. I don't know if anyone's from Gaza. They're familiar with that name, but they're a big family within the Gaza Strip. And so these three girls were telling us their story about how, and their cousins, about how an Israeli airstrike targeted the house in which their entire families had huddled together in order to, stay together and really try and avoid the Israeli airstrikes. And an Israeli airstrike targeted their home, completely killing off almost their entire family. Over 30 members of their immediate family were killed. One of the girls had lost everybody. She had lost her parents, she had lost her brothers, she had lost her sisters, she had just lost everyone in her immediate family. And this is an 11-year-old girl that's talking to you. And she kept reiterating the entire time, what have I done to Israel for them to do this to me? What have I done for them to take away my family? And to hear an 11-year-old girl say that, it hits you. And it's really something that no 11-year-old deserves to live with. And so we had Michael Oren, who played a direct role in this offensive against the Gaza Strip, who was the Israeli spokesperson for the military throughout the bombardment of the Gaza Strip, on top of being a paratrooper in the invasion of Lebanon, in which 30,000 civilians were killed. So we knew he was complicit in these actions, and we knew he played a role in these actions, and that he could be held directly responsible for these atrocities that were committed, for the death of the family of this little girl, and for family members of so many people in the Gaza Strip. And so we decided, you know what, we have to get together and we have to protest. We have to make our opposition known on this campus, and really we need to take advantage of an opportunity in which the highest ranking Israeli official within the United States is going to be coming to our campus. This is the ambassador. There's nobody higher than him as a representative of Israel within the United States. And so this is a golden opportunity for us as well, based on that fact, that we can send a message that will go directly to Tel Aviv, that will go directly to the Israeli government. And so we sit down, we get together, and we go through and we hash out a bunch of different ideas for the protest. And we have people bring up ideas as basic as, you know what, let's not even show up to the event, to let's show up and do a silent walkout, to another extreme was let's actually go into the auditorium, let's take out the speakers that they have, and let's plug in an MP3 player, an iPod, and let's just play our own speakers and our own stuff throughout the entire event, and let's completely have fun with it. We didn't decide on any of those. In the end, we decided one of the other ideas that was brought up, which was University of Chicago-style disruption, is what we called it. And the reason why we called it that was because we had taken the model of the protest from the University of Chicago, in which Ehud Olmert had come to speak a few months earlier at their event, or on their campus. And 30 students, including a professor, stood up and one by one would shout at the podium where Ehud Olmert was speaking. They would either make a statement. Sometimes you couldn't really hear what the statement was, and even a lot of them were reading off of a long list of names of the people killed in Gaza. And they would go one by one. Police would come, take them, escort them out. In the end, nobody was academically disciplined. Nobody was arrested, nobody was threatened with prosecution. So this is our frame of mind. Even at UC Irvine a few months before, we had tuition fee hike increases, and UC Regents, which is the governing body of the entire UC system, was voting to increase tuition, which left students pissed off across the UC system, and we had huge protests across the UC system. And so November 2009, a few months before our protest, we had a protest at UC Irvine. Over 1,000 students, possibly even almost 1,500 students, were protesting. UCI is built in a circle. And so this circle is about a mile long. We're 30,000 students at UC Irvine, and we have a bunch of major lecture halls across this circle. We call it Ring Road. And so these lecture halls all hold 500 people. I'm sure you guys have similar stuff here. And so we're like, you know what? We have 1,500 people. Let's get busy. And so we went from the beginning part of Ring Road, where administration building is, and we went in a huge circle and in order to end up back in front of administration. But along the way, we decided, let's rally the troops across campus, and let's go into every single classroom and every single lecture hall, from the top doors, from the bottom doors, from like these doors, every single door. You have dozens of students coming in, walking up and down the aisles. You have hundreds of students outside, and everybody's chanting, walk out, walk out, walk out, in order to get the students inside to just get up and leave. At times, professors would be like, you know what, guys, class is dismissed, go ahead. At other times, the professors weren't too fond of the protest, and even one professor got into a heated exchange with a student who came up on the stage like this and just started yelling out to the class is over, everybody leave, and they got into a shoving match, the two of them. And the reason why I say all of this is because the UCI Police Department was following along with the protest, along with UCI administrators, high-level administrators who are responsible for student conduct on campus. Nobody was arrested, nobody was academically disciplined. So this is our frame of mind, is that you're more than welcome to protest in this fashion. And even what we were doing was not going to be as, exotic and wild as that form of protest. Or like, you know what, we're going to do something a little bit like University of Chicago, but we're going to modify it a little bit.